Alright, so we learn in coordinate geometry, right, that when we have two lines intersecting, how do we determine the coordinates of the intersected point right here? Okay, so of course, we equate the two lines together like a simultaneous equation, and when we equate the two lines together, we will get the x coordinate of 1.2. Alright, so but of course in coordinate geometry we know that 1.2 is not enough. We need the y coordinate also. So how do we determine the y coordinate? It's very simple. You simply just sub your 1.2 into your any equation that you like. Either you want to put the 1.2 into a line 1 or line 2. You will get the same result. Okay, so after you sub in, right, you will get you sub in line 1, let's just say, you will get 3.4. Okay, so just to be safe, you can also sub in line 2 to double check your answer. So you will also get 3.4, which is consistent. Right, so in maths, right, when we say the two lines intersect, there's actually a very fanciful term for it. They are called the solution. This one is called what we call the solution of the graph solution. Right, okay, so let us do some example. Okay, so let's just say we have this example. We have a y equal to x squared plus 2x minus 3. This is our line, our first graph, right? So they say, hey, find the solution of x squared plus 2x minus 3 equal to 0. You notice that the line, I mean the y is gone, right? So whenever we are dealing with these such questions, it's very important to take note that whenever we are finding solution, or we are finding whatever intersection or solution, it is very important that we must have two graph intersecting. Okay, because when we talk about intersection, we must have minimum two things to intersect, right? We cannot have just one thing intersect with its own self. Okay, so the first graph we know that the line, not say line 1, graph number 1. Okay, graph 1 is x squared, is y equal to x squared plus 2x minus 3. So where is the graph number 2? So whenever you have such situation, you look at the right hand side, because the left hand side you can see that my graph 1 is right here. So my right hand side will be my graph 2. Okay, which is equal to y equal to 0. So actually this 0 is equal to my graph number 2. Graph 2. Okay, so graph 2 will be the equation will be equal to y equal to 0. Okay, so y equal to 0. What is y equal to 0? So we learn in coordinate geometry that y equal to 0 is actually a horizontal line. Why is it a horizontal line? Because y equal to 0 cuts the y-axis at 0. So it should be this, right? So this is your y equal to 0. So this, your x-axis, a bit confusing, but your x-axis actually has a equation of y equal to 0, because it cuts the 0 at your y-axis. That's why it's y equal to 0. Right. So okay, so where is the intersection based on the so-called picture right here, right? Okay, so if one unit is 1, right, so your solution is right here, and another solution is right here. Okay, so your your solution is here is 1, 0. Okay, the other solution is negative 1, 2, 3, negative 3, comma 0. Okay, so this will be your solution. Right. So let's take a look at the example 2. Okay, so example 2, we have this graph y equal to x squared plus 2x minus 3. Okay, so this is my graph number 1. Okay, so maybe I just write down graph 1. So graph 1 is equal to about y equal to x squared. Oh, sorry, maybe just right here. Okay, so this is my graph 1. What about graph 2? So if you look, the graph 1 appears on the left hand side, which is x squared plus 2x minus 3, right? The graph 2 will be your right hand side. So graph 2 will be equal to y, it's always y, y equal to half x. Okay, so it's like a straight line graph, and there's no y-intercept, right? That's why you see the green line is just passes through the so-called the origin, right? Okay, so what is the solution of the graph? So the solution of the graph is right here and right here. So of course, this one very difficult because it's right here, and of course the y coordinate is here. Okay, then you put what is the coordinate. So next will be this. This is right your y coordinate and your x coordinate. Okay, so this is roughly the idea about finding the solution of your graph. Okay, but sometimes things won't be so simple. Sometimes you will see this example. Let's just say we use the same example. 2 y is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 3. Find the solution, right? So let me just write find the solution of x squared plus 1.5x minus 3 equal to 0. Okay, so you can see that we do not know. I mean, it's like this is totally different from your so-called this graph one, right? So how do we do this? We must make this equation back to something that we see right here, x squared plus 2x minus 3. So that I can know, what is the second graph that we are interested in. Okay, so let's just say we have x squared plus 1.5x minus 3, right? Okay, so how do I make x squared plus 1.5x minus 3 back to your x squared plus 2x minus 3? Very simple. This one is just manipulation. So x squared plus 1.5x minus 3 equal to 0. So you simply left hand side, you add half x. Right hand side, of course, when you add half x to the left hand side, you must add half x to the right hand side. So right hand side, you just add half x. Okay, so you will get back your so-called x squared plus 2x minus 3 equal to half x. Okay, so now we got back our graph number 1, right? So graph number 2 can be determined by your right hand side. Okay, so this is how you do a graphical solution, right? So let us go through the try yourself one. Try yourself one, basically there's no need to draw. We just need to determine what is the second graph that we are interested in. Alright, okay, so assume we have drawn the graph of y equal to x cubed. What graph must you draw to solve the equation? You can see x cubed minus 4x plus 1 equal to 0. Okay, so the graph number 1 is this, right? So this is graph 1. Okay, sorry. Okay, but you can see that the equation does not have my graph 1 inside, but I can make my equation to have my graph 1 inside. And in this case, when I make my graph 1 inside this equation, I can get my graph number 2, so that I know what are the two graphs that I'm interested in. Okay, so looking at the equation, x cubed minus 4x plus 1 equal to 0, right? Okay, so you can see I'm interested in the x cubed, right? So you always put your graph 1 on the left hand side. Graph 2 will appear on the right hand side. Okay, so simply you see x cubed is right here, right? You just move the second term and the third term to the right hand side. You will solve the question already. Right, so x cubed is right here. So you move your minus 4x plus 1 to the right hand side. When you move, you will get positive 4x minus 1. Okay, so graph number 1 will be x cubed. Oh, sorry, I should write y or x cubed. Because x cubed, that's not a graph. X cubed. Okay, so graph number 2 will be y equal to 4x minus 1. So it's like a straight line. Okay, so these are the two graphs that I'm interested in. Okay, so where you draw, then you find the intersection point. They will be the so-called the solution of the equation. Okay, number 2, assume that you have drawn the graph x cubed, y equal to x cubed. What graph must you draw to solve the equation? X cubed equal to 4. This one is simple. So my graph number 1 is right here. So G1, just put G1. G for graph. Then graph number 2 is just this G2. Okay, so simple. So my G1 is equal to y equal to x cubed. Okay, then my G2 is equal to y equal to 4. So it's like a horizontal line that cuts through the y-axis at 4. Okay, so this is the y, this is the x, and this will be my graph number 2. Okay, so graph number 2, just right here. So this will be my y equal to 4. Okay, next, assume that we have drawn this graph y equal to x cubed minus 8x plus 5. What graph must you draw to solve the equation x cubed minus x plus 1 equal to 0? So this one is a bit more tough. So graph number 1 is this. Okay, and I want to make this equation, the left hand side to be my graph number 1. So that in this case, I can get my graph number 2. Okay, so let's see this equation, x cubed minus x plus 1 equal to 0. Okay, so left hand side I must make into x cubed minus 8x plus 5. So simply you need to add, okay, so let me just write again, x cubed minus x plus 1 equal to 0. Okay, so for this, I want to make my left hand side in terms of x cubed minus 8x plus 5. So I must minus again, the left hand side, minus again 7x. Then I must plus 4. Okay, then of course the right hand side I must do likewise, minus 7x plus 4. Okay, so after manipulation, I should get this, right? Okay. X cubed minus 8x plus 5. Okay, so you can see that I got my graph 1 already. X cubed minus 8x plus 5, which is this, right? Okay, equal to minus 7x plus 4. So my graph number 2 also come out already, which is a linear graph. Most likely it will be a linear graph, your graph number 2. Linear graph means it's a straight line graph. So this will be your graph number 2. Yeah, so let me just write down. G2 will be equal to y equal to minus 7x plus 4. G1, G1 is easy. G1 is just whatever that you're given. Y equal to x cubed minus 8x plus 5. Okay, so these are the two graphs. Okay, question 4. So assume that you have drawn the graph y equal to x squared plus 7. What graph must you draw to solve the equation x plus 2 equal to 5 over x? This one a bit more difficult. Okay, so my graph number 1 is this. So let me just write G1. is equal to y equal to x squared plus 7. So I want to find what is my G2, graph 2. Okay, so let's try together. X plus 2 equal to 5 over x. So you can see that I do not have any graph. I mean, this equation is like you can't see any graph number 1 inside, but I can manipulate. Okay, so this one you simply just use cross multiplication. Okay, you cross multiply first to help you see better. So x squared, left hand side, x squared plus 2x is equal to 5. Okay, so it's coming out already, right? Okay, so now we move the 5 to the so-called left hand side and the 2x to the right hand side. Okay, so it's coming out already. So okay, x squared minus 5. I want to make x squared minus 5 in terms of my graph number 1, which is this x squared plus 7. So you simply just add plus 13, right? Okay, yeah, 13. So x squared, maybe I write here. Okay, let me just erase first. So x squared minus 5 equal to minus 2x. Okay, so of course I write the same thing, x squared minus 5 plus 13 equal to minus 2x. Okay, so of course when I plus 13 on the left hand side, I must plus 13 on the right hand side, because I cannot change the equation. Right? So, okay, so let's calculate x squared plus 7. So your graph number 1 come out already. Equal to, so graph number 2 also come out already. Minus 2x plus 13. Right? So this minus 2x plus 13 will be your graph number 2. So y is equal to minus 2x plus 13. Okay, so we get the second graph already. Okay, let's go to question 5. Assume that you have drawn the graph y equal to 6 to the power of x. So this is something like your exponential graph like that. Okay, so if you still remember your so-called graph, right? So it's like this. This graph looks like this. Like that. Okay. So what graph must you draw to solve the equation 6 minus x bracket 5 minus x bracket then minus 1 equal to 0. Okay, so this one is a bit more tedious. So same thing, graph number 1. I write it down. So y is equal to 6 to the power of x. Okay, graph number 2, I do not know. Okay, so same thing, your equation 6 minus x bracket 5 minus x bracket again minus 1 equal to 0. Okay, so left hand side, same thing. I want to make my left hand side into something that of 6 to the power of x. Okay, so same thing. Move your minus 1 to the right hand side. So when I move it, right, become positive 1. Okay, next thing, I want to move my whatever that's inside this bracket to the right hand side. Okay, so let's move minus x equal to 1 divided by 5 minus x bracket. Okay, so almost come out already. Just that my 6 to the power negative x, I don't want the negative, right? I want something positive. Okay, so I want to make this positive. So how do I do that? This one I need to use the concept of indices already. Okay, so remember remember your law number, if I'm not wrong, is law number 7 or 6. Okay, I want to make my indices to positive. You simply just make it into something like this, a fraction. You flip it. So when you flip it, then you can get rid of the negative sign already. Okay, then after that you want to, because I want to have 6 to the power of x, right? So you just cross multiply again. Okay, so you cross multiply, you should get maybe I just put here. Okay, so now your graph number 1 come out already, your graph number 2 also come out already. So this is G2, this is G1. Okay, so G2 will be y equal to 5 minus x. So it's a negative gradient, it's a like downward sloping graph. Right, so this is how you do your graphical solution. Okay, so normally when you are solving this equation using using the graphical method, they will need you to manipulate your equation such that you can get your own graph number 2.